Adaptive Leadership by Ronald Heifetz. Picture a leader standing in the middle of absolute uncertainty. The market is changing. The team is anxious. The old methods are no longer working. Problems keep appearing that have no simple answer. And every time the leader tries to use yesterday's solution, today's challenge changes again. This is not a situation where rigid rules work. This is not a situation where one fixed leadership style is enough, because some environments are simply too complex, too unpredictable, and too fast-moving. So the real question becomes, how do leaders guide people when there is no clear map? That question led to adaptive leadership created by Ronald Heifetz. Ronald Heifetz, a leadership scholar from Harvard University, developed this model after recognizing that modern leaders were facing a new type of challenge, not routine technical problems, but adaptive challenges, situations where the answer is unclear, the environment keeps shifting, and people themselves must learn, adjust, and evolve. This became known as the Adaptive Leadership Model by Ronald Heifetz. A leadership model built on one powerful truth: when the world changes, leaders must change with it. Let's break it down. The core idea. Ronald Heifetz explained that many leaders fail because they try to solve complex new problems with old familiar methods. But adaptive environments do not respond to rigid control. They require flexibility, learning, experimentation, courage, adjustment, because not every challenge has a textbook answer. Some problems require people to think differently, behave differently, and even let go of old habits. This means leadership is no longer just about giving instructions. It becomes about helping people adapt. So what is the impact? In flexible leadership, survival and growth become possible. Technical problems versus adaptive challenges. This is one of Heifetz's biggest contributions. He separated problems into two types. Technical problems. These have known solutions. You can apply expertise. You can follow procedure. You can use existing systems. For example, a machine breakdown, a payroll issue, a scheduling error. These can be fixed. Adaptive challenges. These are different. The solution is unclear. People must rethink behavior. New learning is required. Examples: sudden market disruption, major organizational culture change, economic crisis, digital transformation, low trust across teams. There is no simple manual. This means the leader cannot pretend to have all the answers. The leader must guide people through uncertainty. So, what is the impact? Complex challenges require learning, not just control. How adaptive leaders lead. Ronald Heifetz said adaptive leaders do several important things. They identify what is really changing. They keep people focused under pressure. They regulate distress so panic does not take over. They encourage difficult conversations. They challenge old thinking. They give the work back to the people so teams learn responsibility. This is critical, because adaptive leadership is not about rescuing everyone. It is about building people capable of navigating change. So, what is the impact? People become more resilient, more aware, and more capable. Why this model matters today. Think about the world now: artificial intelligence, economic uncertainty, remote work changes, rapid technology shifts, changing customer expectations, global competition. Leaders today constantly face situations that did not exist 10 years ago. Old systems alone are not enough. This is exactly why Heifetz's model matters, because leadership now requires responding, rethinking, repositioning, readjusting again and again. So, what is the impact? Adaptability has become a core leadership survival skill. Real workplace example. Imagine a company that has operated traditionally for 20 years. Suddenly, digital competitors begin dominating the market. Sales decline, Staff resist new technology. Customers expect faster online systems. A rigid leader may say, "Keep doing what we have always done," and the company declines further. An adaptive leader says, "We must learn, shift, and evolve." They retrain staff. They open conversations. They experiment with new systems. They manage discomfort while moving forward. That is adaptive leadership by Ronald Heifetz in action. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages. Highly flexible in uncertain times, builds resilience, encourages learning and innovation, helps organizations survive, change, develops stronger thinking teams. Disadvantages. Can feel uncomfortable and uncertain, requires patience. People may resist change, results are not always immediate. Where you see this today. Adaptive leadership is used in change management, digital transformation, crisis leadership, economic recovery, culture, rebuilding, innovation-driven companies. Anywhere leaders must guide people through uncertainty instead of giving simple answers. That is adaptive leadership. So, what is the impact? Flexible leadership creates long-term survival. Key insight. Ronald Heifetz taught us something deeply important. Leadership is not always about having the answer. Sometimes it is about helping people face the questions, because in complex environments, certainty is rare, but adaptability creates movement, and the leaders who survive modern complexity are not always the strongest controllers, they are the strongest learners. So the real leadership question becomes, are you trying to force old answers onto new problems, or are you willing to adapt with the challenge? Because what worked yesterday may not lead tomorrow. So ask yourself, when uncertainty appears, do you tighten control or do you increase flexibility and learning? Take a moment, pause and reflect. Grab a pen, pencil it down. One complex change happening around you and one old habit that may need to change with it. Because leadership in complexity begins with adaptation. I hope this brought value to you, and I'm wishing you abundant success. Take a moment, pause for thought. What would you like to learn and explore next?